we praise you for this time of fellowship today. We ask for your wisdom and, spiritual eyes to really understand your divine timing through Yeshua. Amen.
So,
Imagine spending decades building this massive wooden ship in your backyard, right?
Yeah.
There's zero rain in sight, and your neighbors are literally filming you for TikTok.
oh yeah,
They're calling you a Delulu prophet and telling you to just, go touch grass.
right. The comment section would be brutal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that was Noah's actual reality, and it perfectly captures what we're looking at in today's deep dive into our sources.
Yeah, we are decoding the 4 spiritual seasons. And we're looking at this strictly from a millennial and Gen Z messianic Hebrew perspective.
Which is so needed right now. The whole mission here is to help you step back from the total chaos of, your timeline and figure out exactly where Yahweh has you placed right now.
So you stop fighting his process because, every harvest starts in the dirt.
It's all about the dirt.
Right. The sources point to Ecclesiastes 3.1, that there is a season for everything. But they really emphasize that agonizing gap between the seed and the sprout.
Yeah, that wilderness or planting season.
Exactly. Yahweh gives the vision long before you see any results. It's marked by this intense, really heavy isolation.
Which, that completely clashes with our whole era of overnight virality.
Oh,
Like, we want the watermelon before we even plant the seed in the hard winter ground.
yeah.
But the texts show Yahweh demanding absolute obedience in the dark.
Right. He's actively withholding the applause.
Which is so hard. Why does he do that?
Well, because he's building your root system. If he just handed you massive influence...
Which blessing.
Exactly. If he gave you that before your character could actually sustain it, the sheer weight of that harvest would crush you.
Wow. Okay, so Noah survives the wait. The seed finally sprouts. But the sources highlight this really cruel irony here.
Yeah, the growing season.
Right. The moment you finally experience growth is the exact moment the uncomfortable stretching begins. Like, look at Joseph.
Joseph is the perfect example.
He gets the prophetic dream, the seed, but his actual growing season is spent hidden away in a literal prison cell.
Because that hidden development is crucial. The growing season isn't about rapid expansion, it's about foundational strength.
Right.
Joseph had to learn administration in a prison before he could ever run Egypt, but once that foundation is set, that's when we hit the pruning season.
Oh, the dreaded pruning.
Yeah. John 15.2 says Yahweh purges the branch that bears fruit so it can bring forth more fruit.
Let me push back on this a little, though, because modern internet therapy culture tells us to just, manifest it or protect your peace.
Right.
Is Yahweh actually telling us to crucify the flesh?
Yeah.
Like, how do we know we aren't mistakenly calling our own bad decisions pruning? If a believer loses their job, did Yahweh prune them, or did they just show up late too many times?
That's such a critical distinction. The sources clarify that consequences stem from disobedience, but pruning happens despite obedience.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And there's this fascinating detail about gardening in the texts. Pruning literally wounds a tree to force its energy toward the fruit instead of the leaves.
Wow.
So Yahweh isn't just cutting off dead branches, he's cutting off perfectly healthy leaves.
Like a good career opportunity.
Exactly. Or maybe a toxic friend group because they are stealing energy from your kingdom purpose. For a messianic believer, this means painfully stripping away worldly attachments.
Like walking away from pagan birthdays.
Right. Or the daily discipline of strictly checking menus to avoid unkosher or halal foods.
Yeah.
It's a separation.
Which brings us to fasting. The texts highlight fasting as the ultimate tool to survive this isolation, but they frame it as way more than just skipping meals.
It's basically the ultimate dopamine detox.
Yes. By intentionally denying your most basic survival instinct hunger, you are neurologically training your brain to stop reacting to every single fleshly impulse.
You are starving your immediate desires to secure a long-term kingdom outcome, and surviving that brutal cut eventually yields the fruit.
Harvest season. But honestly, reading through these sources, the harvest season sounds terrifying.
It really does.
We treat it like the finish line. But look at Solomon. Yahweh gave him unprecedented wisdom and wealth, and that exact success became his ultimate trap.
Yeah, the harvest requires so much stewardship.
It almost seems like the harvest requires more spiritual discipline than the wilderness.
Yep.
Like the real work is just beginning.
Because the standard gets higher. The danger is idolizing the blessing instead of the blesser. You're no longer just surviving the dirt. You are actively upholding a higher standard to represent Yahweh.
To whom much is given, much is required. Obeying when life is comfortable is arguably much harder than obeying when you're desperate.
Exactly.
So Romans 8.28 reminds us that all things work together for good to them that love Yahweh. You really have to ask yourself right now, are you learning in the planting season?
Or stretching in the growing season.
Right. Are you losing things in the pruning season, or are you stewarding fruit in the harvest?
It's all part of his process.
It is. And we'll leave you with this thought to chew on. The world chases cloud and comfort, right? But Yeshua promised persecution.
He did.
If even the Messiah had to face the ultimate pruning, what if the season you are desperately trying to pray away right now is the exact season Yahweh is using to prepare you for the kingdom?
Let him work the soil.